This is the thing. We talk all day, every day about how this all works, but until you have for sure brought yourself into the receptive mode and for sure have an experience where you know you are receiving, then watch the manifestations as a result of this impulse that you received. Until that happens to you, then these are just words and you really don't know. You're just hoping, you might be trying. So if we were standing in any of your physical shoes, we would meditate every day. We would quiet our mind. And in quieting our mind, we would allow our vibration to become vibrationally synced with that of our inner being, so that when those thoughts come, we know for sure that we are in the receptive mode. The thing that trips you up is that through your life experience, you have long believed that if you were ever to become enlightened, which you think is unlikely, if you ever were to become enlightened, because so often those who are stand out and say about themselves how rare they really are. And so you don't really expect yourself to become enlightened. You don't really expect yourself to be one of those special ones who's in the receptive mode. And you really do think that if you should accidentally get into the receptive mode, that really important information will be given to you. It should be solemn. There should be harps playing in the background, and you should be receiving things that are of great importance. And so when Esther comes out of meditation and what she receives is an impulse to move furniture around, some might say, that's not very enlightened. Who's she tapping into? But the feeling of wanting to do that led her to an internet search, which led her to some moving men, which led her to a conversation that was exactly what this young man was looking for and what Esther was wanting to offer. So if we could just convince you that you are physical. Oh, wait, you already know that. If we could just convince you that it's good that you are physical, that you are physical beings on the leading edge of thought, that you are physical extensions of source energy, and that manifestations are as spiritual as it gets, so that you could then allow some of what you have formerly thought were not such spiritual thoughts. You know how you can tell that you're in the receiving mode? This is the surest way to know. And many of you will relate to this because it happens to you on a really regular basis. So you have put yourself into your quiet spot where you're meditating. And you've focused upon something that is not very interesting. Esther likes that sound, that sort of loudest, dominant sound, the steadiest sound in the room. She doesn't pick the chirping birds. They're too erratic. She would pick the constant, the sound that is the constant, and just focus upon it. So once you do that for a little while, seconds or maybe minutes, your mind stops offering its own vibration, which means you stop, or nearly so, it's close enough to say you do, the vibration of your own mind, your human mind, and you allow your inner being, your counterpart mind, to be dominant within you for that time, which means the vibration of your physical apparatus, which means every cell, which means the cells of your brain, the cells of all of you, rise to the frequency of your inner being, so that there's an alignment there, and then a thought will occur. Now, here's the most important thing. It doesn't matter what the thought is, but it is a wonderful distinction if you can know for sure that you were in that thoughtless space before you received the thought. Because if you can accomplish a thoughtless space for a little while and then receive a thought, trust that that thought is a thought that your inner being is thinking that you are receiving. Now, you got to know this. Your inner being knows where you are vibrationally at all times, and knows where you want to be at all times, and knows where you are in relationship to everything you want at all times. So your inner being is offering a thought to you that is the path of least resistance thought for you. And while you might want it to be book material, or you might want it to be an invention that has never been present on your planet before, and eventually it can be that, but at first, your first receiving thoughts, or your thoughts that are the most beneficial to you, are from where you are. What thought could you receive that would lead you in the fastest way to something that is important to you? And so rather than judging the importance of the thought, evaluate when the thought dropped into your mind. Was my mind busy and active when I got the thought? If it was, it didn't come from source. It was just a continuation of your busy, active mind. You following that? But if your mind was quiet and a thought dropped in, then bask in the deliciousness of that thought and stay there with it for the 15 or 20 minutes that you still have left in your sitting. And it may very well be that that thought will evolve into something more and something more and something more, or maybe another thought will drop in and another. But show yourself what receiving feels like. Don't take anyone's word for it. Show yourself that you are a receiver. Show yourself that you can be a receiver. And then you reach the place or the point in your vibrational aptitude where you don't have to meditate to get there. You can just get happy and get there. You can be driving and get there. In other words, you're in the receiving mode a good deal of the time. Haven't you been with someone when you really get rolling? A group of you around a table having such fun. Everyone's tuned in, tapped in, turned on. And here it comes, 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 here it comes. Boom, 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 boom. We're on fire, you say. We are so tuned in to well-being. And our inner being isn't trying to get us to change the world. Our inner being is just guiding us through the most pleasant dinner that has ever been eaten, you see. We want the proof to be, the satisfaction is the proof, because proof, until there is that manifestation that you're wanting. But there's plenty of satisfaction, which is proof, satisfaction, which is proof, satisfaction, which is proof, satisfaction, which is proof, before there is the manifestation, the car in the garage or the whatever. But it doesn't feel like enlightenment to you until you've allowed yourself to receive, because enlightenment usually feels to you in your human form like the big payoff of manifestation. You might be able to tell that we're talking about the vortex being here and you being in the receiving mode and receiving from the vortex. And then in that satisfaction of that reception, being ready for more and being ready for more and being ready for more. Meditation is really a progressive thing. That's why it's really helpful to do it every day. Being ready for more and being ready for more. And so what you want to call enlightenment might be, once you're really in the groove of it and you're really asking deeper questions. In other words, the deeper your question, then the more enlightened your answer feels. But really, everything that is received is enlightened because it's coming from that pure positive energy. We think it's a good idea to acknowledge this. This is really a good culmination of this part of what we've been talking about here. So, do you get it that you are an extension of this source energy? And that you are out here on the leading edge? And that what you are manifesting is source manifestation. This is creation. Humans talk about how God created the world. Well, the world is still being created. The creation never stops. And that source energy that man believes that was there in the beginning is never-endingly always there. And so this creation is always happening, and you are the leading edge of all of that. And you have the privilege, you have the freedom to be at the point of those manifestations where it bursts into being translated through physical senses. Oh, how delicious is that? And so this source energy who is manifesting to you and through you, it just doesn't get any better than that. But humans want enlightenment to be something more than day-to-day experience. But day-to-day experience is the leading edge experience. It is the ongoing experience. It is what Source is all about. And it is what Source is reveling in now, you see. This combination of beings has never been before unto all of the universe. And the reveling that all that is experiencing as a result of what you are offering with your minds and what you're feeling with your solar plexus and the new awarenesses that you're coming to. This is leading edge thought. This is taking thought beyond what has ever been before, which means it's taking manifestation beyond what it has ever been before. It's what puts the eternalness in eternity. It couldn't be any better than that. So often humans use big words like enlightenment or success that in some ways limits them because they put an artificial barrier. It's like sometimes people will say, I have a really important question. Well, the more important they think their question is, the less likely they are to hear the answer. Your question can be important and easy to understand at the same time. You see, you've thought so many thoughts, and it's a good thing, not a bad thing, because consider this. You get it that when you know what you don't want, you know what you do want, and that those rockets of desires, those transmissions of vibration are what have created this vibrational reality that is the source of all that you are now receiving. Did you follow that? And do you know that? So as the contrast occurs, that's where the beginning of all of your creation comes from, which means if you don't allow yourself contrast and those moments of knowing what you don't want, you don't allow your evolution. The evolution of all that is, the expansion and evolution of every species is about that. You've got to be all right with that. All that fear means is that you in this moment aren't in sync with the thought that your inner being is having about this same thing that you're thinking about. It's just guidance. That's all it is. It's just guidance. This guidance is coming through your ear rather than through your solar plexus. But if you weren't hearing these words, you might be feeling the emotion that what we know and what you are thinking are creating. But is it possible that you might accept that the very fear that doesn't feel so good is because of the love that is being offered that you are presently denying? That's what fear always means. We can't convince you with words. You've got to show yourself through alignment. We can offer the words all day long, but this is something that you have to let in. Love is something that you receive. It's not something you contemplate. It's not something you orchestrate. It's not something that you dictate. It's not something that you demand. It's something that you let in. It's something that is always present and always being offered to you, that you can let in or not. And when you don't, it doesn't feel good. That's all. It doesn't mean it's not present. It means you're not letting it in. And so when you beat up on yourself by saying, oh, I'm denying myself this love, that just holds you apart from it further. Instead say, oh, this is an indication that I'm denying this love. I think I'll take a nap. I think I'll stop rampaging on this subject that has enough momentum that it's carrying me into a vibration that isn't allowing me to receive the love that is always being offered to me. We're not talking about other humans bringing it to you. We're talking about you coming into alignment and feeling the wholeness of who you are. But humans often, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. And so here it is. If a person coming towards you is in alignment with who they are, and they are inspired through their alignment, their impulse is to move in the direction of you. If you are in alignment, you will not feel like pushing them away. But there are a lot of people moving towards you who are not in alignment with who they are. Much of the world is acting not from alignment, but from action, acting out of lack. And so don't call it fear, call it guidance. Call it, this is not in alignment with me. You're not rejecting them, you're just not meshing with them. And the reason you're not meshing with them is because they're not meshable.